A Jupiter return is a time of growth and expansion. You might move, you might take a trip, you might meet people that lead to your expansion, you might have a new job, you might leave a job. You're going to have life-changing things that lead to ultimate beneficial growth. And it may not be that you see it in the time, but when you look back at your Jupiter returns, they're going to be periods that brought you into your best, into your abundance. Because while a Saturn return is sobering, a Jupiter return, you're drunk. So a Jupiter return, I'm in one right now, so I can speak to it. It has been going this past year. I was born with Jupiter in Aries at 29 degrees. And right now, Jupiter is in Aries in the collective energy. It has been in Aries off and on. It was in Aries from May to about this May. But there was a little period where it regressed and went into Pisces for a bit, and then it came back into Aries in December. But let's not get into the minutia. Let's focus on what's a Jupiter return? What's going on in my Jupiter return? That can help maybe you navigate what it means for you. So for me, my Jupiter is in Aries. That means that in order to have the greatest success and abundance at life, I need to have bold, enterprising, confident, action-based energy, which is kind of what Aries energy is all about. It's about bold action. It's about being kind of a pioneer and independent. It's kind of represented as individualistic because it is the first sign. It is considered the opposite of Libra, which is a sign of partnership, collaboration, really ultimate kind of couples. And Aries is more a singledom sign. So it has an individualistic streak. So if my Jupiter is in Aries, that's one aspect of me. And then I also actually have my North Node in Aries, which that means I have a lot of energy that is telling me in order to be the best version of myself, I need to be in more independent, bold, pioneering energy and enthusiasm and standing up for myself and being in a leadership role. I need to be in that energy. And the thing is that a Jupiter return is teaching you why you have to be in that sign. So a Jupiter return, it's not going to be this kind of really intense karmic push that is bringing you ups and downs. But it is going to push you to be the best you can be. And you have to, knowing that it's happening helps you see it better. So at the start of my Jupiter return, I accepted a job. And that job had a sense of rebellion to it that felt like Aries, because how they presented themselves was almost, they were like an Aries rising. They presented themselves as Aries energy, but when you got into it, it was actually all Libra energy. It was like presenting as a bold, innovative leader that's pioneering new methods. But then when it comes down to it, they're all kind of polite, good girls that are passive aggressive and indirect. So the opposite of Aries. And so what that did for me is I moved for this job, took a bold action, moved, and then realized it wasn't for me and had the guts to admit that and had the guts to take action that advocated for me rather than catering to this kind of polite Libra dysfunction of like, we're all good girls, we're all, in that little, like, getting out of that kind of little girl voice asking for permission and getting more into the Aries, taking action, doing what you need to do, being direct, decisive, and bold, and not dealing with little girl regression, basically. And so what I'm learning during my Aries return, which is still going to be, hasn't even hit the peak. It hits the peak when the degrees that you were born in Jupiter matches up with the degrees collectively. So I have a long way to go because I'm Jupiter in Aries at 29 degrees. So it's in like 23 degrees right now, maybe 24. And so I have, every week I get closer to the peak of activity where I'm going to be in the ultimate Jupiter return aspect. So we will see, but so far it's been one big fireball the whole time. I mean, not the whole time, but certainly it's hitting peak moments of change, growth, expansion, epiphany. And like I say, it's not epiphanies in a way that's really karmic. It's not in ways that are bad. There's burned bridges, there's problems, but it has a feeling of how that feels better, right, beneficial. It doesn't feel like you're getting a lesson and being in, and you're not being faced with karmic shadow. You're being faced with, oh, this feels more like the growth aspect. This is going to help me be better. So, like I say, Jupiter return, you're drunk. Saturn return, you're sober. So it's that kind of energy. It's not gonna wound you, put you in a big dry spell. So anyway, what can I say about a Jupiter return? It's not like it's predictably, constantly abundant. It's like you kind of get these downloads and this strong tug to be in the energy of that sign. So I have a lot of Aries tugs rather than the typical staying in the past and the past programs. So I'd say a Jupiter return, first one happens when you're 12. So think about that. When you're 12, there might be this moment that you realize what you're really good at for the first time. I think what you're really interested in, what really sets your inner fire on. And so I think that Jupiter returns put you in touch with how you want to be in that passion, like what serves you the best, and what things light you up, what makes you feel good. And through your interactions with people or through a move or through a trip, it brings you clarity on who you are and what you want. So I hope this was helpful. Also, note, Jupiter works best in certain planets. It's best in Sagittarius. That's what it's ruled by. So that's the best planet to have Jupiter in is Sagittarius and Pisces. It's known as exaltant in those. And that means that if you have Jupiter in those, there is an element of abundance and luck to you because it works the best in those signs. But if you have a Jupiter in opposing signs to Sagittarius, that's if you have a Jupiter in Gemini, or if you have a Jupiter in Virgo, that's the opposite of Pisces, then Jupiter you may have a little bit of, it may be a little bit tougher. It still has the same meaning that if you embody those archetypal signs of Virgo or Gemini, that's what gives you the best luck. But there's a bit of it's like being caught in a swamp because that planet doesn't work the best in it. Now, my Jupiter is in Aries, which is a fire sign like Sagittarius, so it can work pretty well in it. It has a lot of potential because Aries is trying to Sagittarius, so that works well. But we all have planets that are exaltant and in detriment. I mean, I may have a great Jupiter, but my Venus is in Virgo, which is at ultimate detriment because Venus works best in Libra and Pisces. Now, Pisces really has a lot of planets that are lucky, you might say. And that's true. Pisces has its moments with Venus and Jupiter, but don't worry, it has its own regressed problems if it's in other signs. But it is the last planet. It's the last sign, so it's got an element of being evolved. So it's natural that you when you're in the very last sign, that 12th sign, you've been through enough lifetimes and archetypes to really figure out more, to be at the point of you're better at love and you're better at abundance. So anyway, we could go in, that's a whole other video though, going into what's exaltant and what's detriment and what. But Jupiter, what your Jupiter is in is this archetypal energy and sign that brings you the best expansion and luck. So, and kind of the best manifester energy. So if you embody that characteristic of that sign during your Jupiter return and throughout life, then you're going to have more potential, is what it's saying.